Hi friends, it's Maddie and welcome to another Tier List Tuesdays. Now we're going to do something a little different. We're still using Tier Maker, so it is Tier List Tuesdays, but we're going to be doing a matchup chart for the goth goddess herself, Lucy Loud. My main, and honestly something a lot of people in Lucy Cord has been interested in seeing for a while. So I'm going to start off with Spongebob and go all the way down to Oblina. So we're just going from beginning to end like we usually do, and I'm going to talk about each matchup very briefly, but I just want to get my opinions on here on who Lucy wins against and who she loses against. So to explain the tiers, the higher tiers here like 60-40 and 55-45, those are like ratios on how much she wins, and then 50-50 is even, and then it goes down to 45 to 55, and then 40 to 60. Those are the ones that she loses. So higher in the list means that she wins more, and then lower in the list means that she wins less. Let's start out with SpongeBob here. So SpongeBob, Lucy wins this matchup slightly, 55-45. Now, the reason for this is after the patch, SpongeBob's gotten some nerf to combos and has a little bit harder time killing now, although SpongeBob does have consistent kill combos on Lucy and pretty good edge guards. They aren't quite as good as they used to be. They're a little more DIable now, while Lucy still pretty much does everything she used to do, and she still beats SpongeBob neutral for the most part. So yeah, it's really hard for SpongeBob to do much in neutral other than play defensive. I think that Lucy has control over neutral, which gives her a slight edge in the matchup, I believe. Edge guarding SpongeBob is also really hard, but she can do like the poem slam, the down strong in the air, and catch it. So she does have that in the matchup. So it's like very close. I almost put this 50-50, but SpongeBob got a little bit more nerfed in this patch than Lucy did. Patrick Star. I have Patrick as a 50-50 in this because although Patrick is pretty mid-tier and he only really has a couple strong moves, those couple strong moves are very good against Lucy. Lucy is pretty bad against strong spammers because she doesn't have a lot of answer to it outside of power shielding. She's super light, so if she messes up and gets hit, she dies earlier than any other character in the game. And honestly, she doesn't have good down strong for rock, paper, scissors, so nair spammers like Patrick are pretty good. And Hug Driver, the little pile driver that sends you off stage, is really hard for her to deal with because she has to get in to do damage and do combos. So the super armor on that move can be really difficult for her to deal with. Other than that, like Patrick's downlight off stage can consistently edge guard Lucy, and it hits really hard. So if he hits it, he could just keep doing it off stage at 0%, and his dash attack is great for sending her off stage. But in that matchup, Lucy controls a neutral way too well, gets combo games significantly better than Patrick, racks up percent, outspeeds Patrick. On big stages like Armada, Erkin, you can just circle camp Patrick. I've done that before. So she outpaces him in neutral, which is why it's still 50-50, but one mistake can lead to death. That's why I don't think Patrick loses too bad. And then you got Sandy Cheeks. I put Sandy as a winning matchup for Lucy Loud because Sandy pretty much has a few really strong options, but they're quite readable. Sandy is gonna be a monster close range. You don't want to get too close unless you have a good opportunity because Sandy's jab is incredibly good on shield. It can combo into itself, you can tech chase off of it, it's crazy good at low percent. It can kill at higher percent. If you tech it, she can chase it. It's an amazing move. So you do have to be careful at close range. Also, she's very strong. If she hits a lasso or if she hits a nair strong in neutral, you're dead pretty early. However, I do still think that Lucy controls the neutral. Lucy is like the neutral god of this game. So she has that. The edge guards are not great on Sandy if she has a chance to up B. Sandy can get back relatively easily. But all in all, I still think that Lucy gets better combos, better neutral advantage, and it's just more consistent overall than Sandy is. I think that Lucy can win slightly. And then we have, let's go to Aang, a top tier character, slightly above Lucy in the tier list in my opinion. She loses to Aang a little bit, just a little bit. Lucy can outplay an Aang and can shield and try to punish the nair spam. But Aang, if he hits a nair and you're not DIing perfectly, you're getting to 70% off of one attack. And even if you do DI perfectly, you're in like a tech chase situation or he's going to re-grab and do it again. Point is, Aang is one of the most consistent characters at getting just really high percent on Lucy, and from there, he just got to hit one of his excellent strong attacks. He doesn't really have confirms into his strong attacks all that much, but his strong attacks are very good, and getting to kill range is super easy with him. And one of Lucy's strengths is edge guarding. Aang does not get edge guarded. Aang has the best recovery in the game. It's too quick. There's too many jumps. You can't do anything about it. So Lucy loses for those reasons. Although she still is a good character. She still keeps up in neutral. She still keeps up in combo game. So she's not that bad off. You can win it still. And then we have Toph now. Toph is one of the worst characters in the game, and she relies heavily on her grounded strongs to win. And Lucy can just simply zone that out, wait, teleport in, and punish very easily. She can just jump in and shield. She doesn't really have an issue edge guarding Toph as much as some other characters, even though her recovery is really good, because Lucy can easily get in, pressure, teleport away, get in, get an air grab with a teleport in off stage. She can do like triple dares off stage, and Toph doesn't even have a chance to recover. The neutral is terrible for Toph. The combo game is non-existent for Toph, while Lucy's racking up like 50% per combo. So it can be really difficult for Toph, and her hitboxes are too small to really challenge anything that Lucy has. I just put it as a heavily winning matchup for Lucy here. As well as Korra. I put Korra as a heavily winning matchup for Lucy. By the way, these are not ordered in any way, just to say that now. So I don't think that necessarily Toph does better or Korra does better. But Korra, pretty much all she does well is hit hard. She doesn't really have combos that well. She doesn't really have like edge guards. She's kind of an incomplete character. Her hitboxes are really small for no reason. Although she can kind of spam strongs against Lucy, they're pretty short range. So it's not good, even though that is probably the best thing she can do against Lucy. Lucy just beats her in pretty much every part of the matchup. Like, Korra just does what Lucy does, but worse. That's how I view it. Lincoln Loud. I have Lincoln Loud as a slight winning matchup for Lucy. Lincoln's neutral is very good against Lucy, or it's just very good in general, not necessarily specifically against Lucy. The water gun can be canceled like instantly. It puts out a really good hitbox. It leads into tech chases. The yo-yo is mid-range disjoint. It's not bad for poking. Like I said, I think that Lucy Loud is the goddess of neutral in this game. But Lincoln keeps up with it, and that's huge. Just being able to keep up with her neutral is huge. In terms of kill power, they're both the same. Combo game, Lucy's got the combo game much better, and the edge guards a bit better too. So, like, there's things that, like, Lincoln doesn't do quite as well as Lucy. They are very different characters, but I think that Lucy deals with Lincoln's neutral just fine and wins in, like, other parts of the matchups a bit. Now, Leonardo. Leonardo is a losing matchup, a heavily losing matchup for Lucy. One of the only couple in the game that I think that she loses pretty badly. It's winnable, but you have to climb a mountain to win this because Leo just simply walls Lucy out so hard. The sword range is like more than Lucy's teleport range, so you can't really teleport in. He can spam it so fast with like 7 frames of lag. It's ridiculous. The nairs, although they aren't that powerful, they can kill on DI out, which is the correct DI. If you don't DI out, then you get comboed again and again and again. So he kills like earlier than any other character because Lucy's so light. And then neutral, he just wins neutral. He wins the edge guarding. His strong attacks are stronger. He outranges. He does pretty much everything better except for speed. Lucy does have the speed, but like when it comes to the neutral, I still think that Leo wins the neutral just because of the range. Like Leo's not that much slower. It's slow enough to where it's noticeable, but not much, and that's why that matchup is incredibly hard. I put Mikey as even here. I think Mikey is like another mid-range disjoint character, really good neutral, but the combo game is really tricky. He's got some good stuff out of up throw still. His edge guards, he can send you off stage so quickly and so strongly. It can be really hard for Lucy to recover against Mikey, but Lucy edge guards Mikey pretty well. The combo game is about even on both of them. He has a projectile, but it's not that good against Lucy because Lucy's got the teleport. Like, I think that, like, Lucy out neutrals him a bit, but, like, Mikey lives longer, kills earlier. It's 50-50, like, you know, there's trade-offs between different things. I don't think it's that bad for her, but I don't think that he wins it either. April O'Neil. April is the, spoilers, is the only other character with a 40-60 matchup for Lucy. Lucy loses this matchup pretty bad, I think. She can't deal with the strong nairs almost at all. That move is too big for her to like teleport in and punish. She can like yellow shield it and she can get a downlight out of it to punish, but like she has to be close enough for that because it does have shield pushback. So those are really good. They kill her super early. April O'Neil has downlights out of shield about as fast and as good as Lucy's sends forward a little bit. And it's incredibly hard to tech, and if you miss a tech, she gets 60% out of it with her microphone, and that kills dumb early. Honestly, I think she just out hitboxes Lucy in neutral, but she has the same amount of speed, and she doesn't have a teleport, but she has a camera to control space. Her dash attacks are longer range so that she can get in easier. Her recovery is not great from a low standpoint, but if she's got the space, she can go around you and get a high recovery, and there's almost nothing Lucy can do about it. And that's one of the things that Lucy's great at is edge guarding, but that's just something that you can't do. And pretty much every time you try to combo an April, it leads to like April just spamming downlight, and downlight in the air just trades with uplight from Lucy, and it's almost impossible to get more than a couple hits without getting a trade and then just your combo ending. It's a really hard matchup, I think. Ren and Stimpy I have as a slight winning matchup. I think that Ren and Stimpy's recovery is terrible. You can mix up with the counter if you're recovering high, that's pretty decent. But Lucy just eats up that recovery. Lucy eats up the combo weight that Ren and Stimpy bring to the table, and she out neutrals Ren and Stimpy really hard. Although Ren and Stimpy does have bigger hitboxes than Lucy, and of course lives longer, so there's that. And they do have a projectile, which can be annoying, but all in all, Ren and Stimpy is pretty much getting outclassed in almost everything, but they can stick in the fight for a while, and they can trade with a lot of hits with their huge light hitboxes and kill pretty early if they get the right hit. It's just hard for them. They do have to climb a little bit uphill to win that matchup. Powdered Toastman is another one that I think Lucy slightly wins here. Now, Powdered Toastman has some really good combos they're pretty much 50-50 mix-ups, but if they work, Lucy can die at a solid 20%. I'm not even joking. One really good combo that I see players like Remix doing is grab release, then the shine into reverse up strong, which if you DI in on that, which it's difficult to DI because it sends you behind. If you DI in on that, you just die. Like I said, at like 20%. The strong attack spam is really, really strong. However, it's slow, so it's not that hard to react to. Other than that, you're dealing with some annoying like light attacks that aren't that good. Up light is really strong, I guess, but that's about the only thing. And then the recovery's bad. So I think that he gets out neutraled pretty hard, out recovered really hard, out edge guarded. But like the kill power is what keeps him in the game here, I think. So it's not horrible. If you outplay Lucy, you can win with Powdered Toastman. And let's move on to Zim. I think Invader Zim is a slight losing matchup against Lucy, or I should say that Lucy beats Zim a little bit here. Zim relies heavily on the zoning tools, which Lucy pretty much can ignore. Lucy's got a teleport. Lucy's got speed. Lucy doesn't really have to deal much with what Zim has. Lucy has a really good Nair Strong for just, it's got a lot of lag, but it can reflect things really easily. Zim has pretty good get off me tools, but Lucy has better pressure. And the recovery is super easy to gimp against a Zim. So like Zim can do some tricks, and it can be difficult for Lucy to really read what Zim is doing, but once you get a read on how they like to play neutral, it's pretty bread and butter for Lucy, I would say. Also, they're both really light, so that's one thing that most characters have against Lucy, is that they're heavier, but Zim is not really. So now we're going to go to Catdog here. Catdog is a 50-50 even matchup, I think. Catdog has incredibly good strongs. Both cat and dog have very good strongs against Lucy, and that's something that, again, I think that Lucy can struggle with. However, what's really nice is that the Nair Strong, if it hits a yellow shield, she can punish it with a downlight almost consistently, although they can still DI out on it and you don't get a lot. the risk reward is not nearly as high as it is for Catdog to do it. And then the projectiles can be kind of annoying, but again, Lucy's got teleport to get through it and speed to get through it. But really, I mean, they're both light, but Catdog is killing so much earlier. If you get hit by a DIN up strong, like dog up strong, you basically die at 20, and it's a 50-50. And if you don't DI, it works no matter what. So it's ridiculous how early this character can kill, how risky it is for Lucy to do things against this character, but realistically, she does out edgeguard. Actually, edgeguarding Catdog is really difficult, but she can still edgeguard Catdog with down light on the ledge is pretty good if they don't sweet spot it perfectly, but she out neutrals Catdog and can outpace him, and that is really important. That's why it's still 50-50, but a lot of other things in this match can be really hard. You're gonna die pretty early if you mess up. Reptar. I think Reptar is a heavily winning matchup for Lucy. He lives forever, but Lucy doesn't care because Lucy's usually killing before Reptar would die off the side or off the top. She's usually taking him off stage, getting a grab combo, getting a dash attack combo, daring 3 times in a row. Reptar does not live very easily against Lucy. If you die at low percents with Reptar, you are significantly behind, because that is kind of what Reptar does, is be thick and live. But Lucy has a lot of setups to kill him early. I mean, Reptar hits hard, but not as hard as you might expect, and it's a lot harder for him to earn his heavy hits than it is for some of the other characters in the cast. So the things that he's supposed to be good at, he's not very good at in that matchup. So I'm gonna say that he loses it pretty bad. The neutral's pretty god-awful too. He's got mix-ups, but it's overall, you're just getting outpaced and outplayed. Nigel Thornberry might come as a surprise to some people, but I think this character is broken. I think this character is a top 5 character. I think Lucy is 4th, and Nigel's right below. Nigel's incredibly good. I say it every time. Every time I mention him in any of my videos, he's cracked. He beats Lucy Loud. He's not a better character. I don't think he's a better character, but he beats Lucy Loud, I think. Lucy is stupid light, dies to grab release snap, which is nearly a true combo, almost impossible to escape, at like 60%. And pretty much his up light combos are consistent enough on all DIs, if you have like even a decent reaction time, that he's pretty much getting 60% off of one up light, and he can start that combo with down light on the ground, up light on the ground, up light in the air, sometimes fast fall, like drag down neutral light in the air. It's crazy what this character can do. The combo game is consistent, just like Aang, and he kills like super consistently. He's not as good as Aang when it comes to movement and neutral, but his recovery is still pretty good, and he is heavy, so he is living a lot. He doesn't get combo food as much as Reptar, because he does have really good escape options with the worm, and just the down air is so fast and sends you at a crazy angle. But he's still getting comboed just as much. He's getting out neutraled, but the amount of damage and the amount of kill power this character has in that matchup compared to Lucy is astronomical. So I think he does win slightly, even though Nigel does have his own struggles. And let's go to Helga. I'm gonna say Helga is a heavily winning matchup for Lucy. Lucy can just get in Helga's face and Helga can't do anything. She just completely ignores her projectile. Helga has a hard time actually getting hits because her hitboxes are kind of tiny, and although she hits hard, Lucy can live quite a long time by just being evasive. The big thing that I think Helga is decent at is recovering. It's pretty hard to try to gimp the recovery when she can kind of release it whenever she wants. The up special, she can release that move whenever she wants, so it's not necessarily something that Lucy can cover 100% of the time, but she could definitely get Helga off stage far enough to where she has no options but to fully charge, and then she just gets wrecked off stage. Meanwhile, it's pretty hard for Helga to actually edgeguard Lucy because her down air only goes like straight down. Her down strong like sends in front of her, but it's pretty slow. And yeah, in general, I just feel like Lucy outpaces her, and like neutral combo game is better, edge guarding is better, like everything is just better. That's kind of what you're gonna see from this tier right here. Everything that these characters do, Lucy can do better, or Lucy can just avoid. So I do think Helga loses that matchup pretty bad. Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom is a 50-50 matchup. Danny is slept on. Danny is crazy. He can tango with the top tiers in this game, and he does it with very, very high speed. His hitboxes come out just as fast, if not faster, than Lucy's. His actual ground speed and movement is equal to Lucy's, which is something that I can't say about almost anyone else in the cast. And he loves to use his strong attacks in neutral, which is something, again, is really scary for Lucy because they're hard to counter and Lucy can die to them very early. So, I mean, he's got kill power, he's got his combo game's not the best, but he can wall out really easily with his speed and his little projectile. His recovery's not great, but he's got a lot of stalls that are really difficult for Lucy to do something about. And if he snaps the ledge with the up B, it's full invincibility, you can't challenge it. So he does a lot more in this matchup that I think other characters can. He is even with her in a lot of sections, a lot of places where other characters can't even contest her, like movement, like speed. But yeah, like he lives longer, he's got better kill power, but Lucy does have better movement slightly, like maybe slightly. Also, Danny's edge guards are really good on Lucy. His downlight in the air hits so hard and so big and so fast. But Danny just has his own struggles. He's not a high tier character, he's not quite. He's almost there. But I would say it's at least even for him. He's pretty good. And we have Oblina, which I think that Lucy wins that matchup just a bit in this patch. Because Oblina, although she can edgeguard Lucy like crazy, she can throw out strongs relatively safe. She's really small, it's hard to hit. She doesn't get comboed that hard. She can keep up in terms of like hitbox speed. Her hitboxes are a bit smaller. Her combos are about the same, but they're a little harder to hit. Her edge guards, again, about the same, a little bit harder to hit. Her strongs are better than Lucy's a bit, maybe, but they're not that hard to deal with Lucy. They're pretty predictable. She does have the projectile, but again, Lucy has a lot of ways around it, and she doesn't really worry about it. Plus, she can bite the projectile to get into whatever mode that she wants, which can be really hard for Oblinas to deal with. Oblinas actually died pretty early to Lucy because of their weight, which works vice versa, but hitting Lucy's a lot harder than it is to hit Oblina, even though the hurt box is really tiny on Oblina. I just think that they do kind of the same thing, but Lucy she's got the teleport, she got the movement a little bit better. She's got more consistent, like bigger hitboxes. She recovers better. She does everything a little bit better. I believe that she wins this matchup just a slight bit. So that's my overall matchup chart. Here it is. It's my first matchup chart for Lucy Loud. I think she only loses 4 matchups in this game. She is a top 5 character for sure, but she's got a lot of winning matchups. But if you look, I mean, half of the cast can go even or win against Lucy. Even though she is like a 4th or 5th best character in the game, she doesn't just dominate like tournaments, I don't believe. So that's what I think about how good Lucy is. I think she's incredibly good, but not broken tier. I can't see her getting nerfed too much. She needs them, but hopefully this kind of stays similar to what her future patches might look like. After a few tweaks, I think she's still going to be a pretty good character because she's still got that movement, she's still got that combo game. So that's my list, and I hope you all enjoy. I hope you all can agree to some of this. If not, feel free to let me know in the comments what you think. I'm always reading my comments. I'm really excited to see what you all think. So thank you all so much. I love you. Bye!